You know, in the warehouse world, we spend so much time obsessing over things like picking speed and inventory accuracy. But what if I told you the most crucial step is actually the last one? Packing. And look, it's not just about putting stuff in a box. It's the final handshake with your customer. It's the last promise you make before that order is out the door. Get it right, you build trust. Get it wrong? Well, that trust shatters. So let me ask you a question. What's the real cost of just one bad package? I mean, it's easy to write it off as a small mistake, right? But the ripple effects, they're way more damaging than you'd think. Let's actually break down what that really costs you. And here's the thing, these aren't just isolated problems. They snowball. An angry customer doesn't just call support, they go online and leave a terrible review. A costly return isn't just the shipping fee, it's the labor to process it, and maybe even a lost product. Lost trust? That means you've probably lost a customer for good. And shipping delays just clog up your whole operation, slowing everything else down. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Packing is your last line of defense. Think about it. Every other step, receiving, picking, you can have checks and balances. But once that box is taped up and that label is on, any mistake inside is on a one-way trip straight to your customer. It is the moment of truth for every single order. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to hammer home why packing is that final, non-negotiable checkpoint. Then, we'll get into why things go wrong in the first place. After that, we'll lay out a blueprint for fixing it, with some quick wins and some long-term solutions. And finally, we'll talk about how to make those changes actually stick. First up, the final checkpoint. Let's really dig into why this single step is just absolutely non-negotiable if you care about your customers. This right here, this says it all. You know, customers can be pretty forgiving if a package is a day late, especially if you let them know. But getting the completely wrong item, that feels personal. It feels like incompetence, like you just don't care. It breaks the fundamental trust you've built. So accuracy has to be priority number one at that packing station, period. So if it's so important, why does packing go wrong so often? Let's play detective and diagnose the root causes. And here's the good news. Packing errors are almost never random. They're symptoms of bigger problems in the system. And once you find those, you can fix them for good. Sound familiar? I bet it does. No quality control is basically just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. A messy station means people are wasting time and getting frustrated. Order consolidation errors? That's how you get those "I only got half my stuff" phone calls. And manual paperwork is just begging for human error. Throw in bad ergonomics and an unbalanced workflow, and you've got a perfect storm for mistakes. And this is a perfect example of that unbalanced flow problem. Let's say your pickers are absolute rock stars, grabbing 100 orders an hour, but your packing team can only handle 60. So what happens? Chaos. That's what happens. You get a huge pileup of orders, creating clutter, delaying shipments, and putting a ton of pressure on your packers, which, surprise, surprise, leads to even more mistakes. All right, enough with the problems. Let's talk solutions. We're going to lay out a practical blueprint for you, and we'll break it down into two parts. Quick wins you can literally implement this week, and long-term fixes that'll build a truly world-class packing operation. First up, the quick wins. These are the low-hanging fruit. 1. Add a simple QC check right before the box is sealed. 2. Redesign your stations so everything is within arm's reach. 3. Get barcode scanners in there. It's an instant accuracy booster. 4. Try to balance the workflow. Sometimes just moving one person can fix a bottleneck. And 5. Standardize your box sizes. It reduces guesswork for your packers. Simple stuff, big impact. Now for the long game. This is about building a system that's built to last. It means creating checklists and standard operating procedures, SOPs, so everyone does it the same way every time. It means having a dedicated spot for consolidating orders so they don't get mixed up. It means investing in real ergonomics, like adjustable tables. It means tying everything into your warehouse management system. And, of course, it means tracking your performance with KPIs. I love this quote because it's such a critical insight. We're often taught to think that speed and accuracy are a trade-off, right? You can be fast or you can be accurate. But good design proves that's a myth. When a packer isn't constantly bending down or walking around looking for the tape gun, they're less tired, they work faster, and they make fewer mistakes. It's a total win-win. Okay, so let's get into our final section. You can have the best blueprint in the world, but how do you make sure the changes actually stick around? This all comes down to management and measurement. So let's put you in the manager's hot seat for a minute and run through some real-world scenarios. All right, imagine this. Your boss walks up to your desk and says, "We're shipping way too many wrong orders, fix it." What's your very first move? Where do you even begin? First things first, you have to stop the bleeding. That means immediately putting in a QC step, preferably with barcode scanning. You might even have one person check the order and a different person pack it. You have to log every single error so you can find patterns. And most importantly, you get the team together and you send a clear message. For now, accuracy beats speed. Let's get it right, then we'll get it fast. Okay, next scenario. You get the green light to completely redesign your packing stations. How do you set them up for maximum efficiency? A perfect packing station is just a thing of beauty. Everything the packer needs, their scanner, their tape gun, the most common boxes, it should all be right there, within arm's reach, no wasted steps. The benches should be adjustable for different people, and every single station should be set up exactly the same way so people can move around easily. And don't forget the basics. Good lighting and anti-fatigue mats make a world of difference over a long shift. All right, this next one. This is a tough one. It's the headache of almost every warehouse. A customer orders 5 things, picked from 5 different zones. How in the world do you make sure all 5 items get into the same box? The secret here is having a dedicated process and a dedicated space. You need a specific consolidation zone where these partial orders can live. Every single tote has to be clearly labeled. Your WMS should be the boss here. It tells you when an order is complete. You scan every item again as it's consolidated, and just like any other error, you review them every week to see where the process is breaking. So you've done all this work. How do you actually know if it's paying off? Well, you measure it. These are the vital signs of your packing operation. Packing accuracy is your #1 goal. That's your promise to the customer. Packing speed tells you if you're being efficient. Consolidation accuracy zones in on that multi-line order problem. And the rework rate, that's huge. It tells you how many mistakes are catching before they leave the building. And really, that's the whole point, isn't it? Tracking these numbers isn't about pointing fingers. It's about holding the process accountable. When you have data, you can have smart conversations with your team. You can spot trends, you can celebrate wins, and you can systematically fix the things that aren't working. It creates a culture of getting better every single day. So I want to leave you with this one thought. Tomorrow, go out and just watch your packing stations. Talk to the people working there. Because that bench with a roll of tape isn't just a workstation. It is the physical place where you make your final promise to your customer. So ask yourself, really ask yourself, is it built to keep that promise?